After the Avengers became a box office triumph, Iron Man 3 had big shoes to fill. The movie grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide, proving that audiences were still heavily invested in Tony Stark's solo adventures. This film was a bit lacking for me. I feel like they could have done more with the villains instead of whatever this is. But there are good portions of this movie, such as the mansion scene. It's a brilliant Tony Stark movie, just not a good Iron Man movie. As you could probably tell, I've got a cold during the recording of this, making my voice deeper than it usually is. But I'm excited to delve into Phase 2 of the Marvel Universe. So let's go.
Yes, it's the culmination from Iron Man 1 and 2, but it's also a follow-up to the Avengers, and in a way that liberates it to be more unique than anything that has come before.
Welcome back to the watch list. Today we take a look at Iron Man 3. If you don't mind leaving a like or possibly subscribing, that would be great. And that way you can follow me along for the ride as I cover every MCU movie before Avengers Doomsday hits the cinemas. Anyway, this film takes a bold new path, straying away from the story arcs similar to its predecessors. They do this by stripping Tony Stark of his tech and forcing him to rely on his ingenuity. Shane Black, known for his work on films like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which also stars Robert Downey Jr., and most recently the 2018's The Predator, which is not great, brings his signature style of action comedy while diving deeper into the emotions of the main characters. The film's narrative approach is interesting, as there's a few big twists, mainly involving Ben Kingsley's The Mandarin, which was and still is a very divisive moment in the MCU. Don't get me wrong, I like Ben Kingsley's role as Trevor Slattery, the British actor.
Don't hurt the face, I'm an actor.
Who doesn't even realise that his role is incredibly dangerous and bordering, probably already crossing the line of terrorism. He's just hilariously ignorant. It's a very arbitrary plot, but it has its moments. Act 1 introduces Tony's PTSD and anxiety attacks, while establishing the threat of the Mandarin. We see a vulnerable Tony Stark struggling with his experiences from the Battle of New York. Act 2 forces Tony to go back to basics after his mansion is destroyed and his suits are lost. It's basically bringing Tony back to the cave that Iron Man was born in. Act 3 culminates in a compelling finale featuring dozens of Iron Man suits, which I guess he could have just called earlier, Pepper's enhanced abilities, and the revelation of the true villain behind everything. The action sequences in Iron Man 3 are actually quite innovative, ranging from Tony fighting without his suit to controlling multiple suits remotely. The destruction of Tony's Malibu house was a momentous sequence, and one that I didn't even see coming when I first watched it, making this scene even more intense. The movie really shines with its use of practical effects. The mansion attack had some awesome real sets that they could actually blow up, with CGI added in to make it look even cooler. The Air Force One rescue was also pretty wild. They did a lot of real stunt work and then enhanced it with effects to create this crazy mid-air sequence. Using real effects whenever they could really made these big action scenes feel more grounded and intense. There's a bit of trivia I touch on later about this scene that is, well, record-breaking. Robert Downey Jr. delivers perhaps his most nuanced performance as Tony Stark, showing vulnerability and anxiety alongside his usual wit. There's a way in his acting where you can tell he's stressed, but he keeps it in, and that expresses his character and the way he is really well. Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Potts gets significantly more action scenes, and finally suits up in the Malibu house attack sequence, while Don Cheadle returns as James Rhodes, or Iron Patriot, with an expanded yet familiar role. Ben Kingsley's portrayal of the Mandarin provides one of the film's most controversial yet memorable elements. Sorry, you might be able to hear my dog in the background squeaking her toy. While Guy Pearce brings complexity to Aldrich Killian as the true antagonist. However, Maya Hansen, played by Rebecca Hall, was originally intended to be the main villain in the script, as she is in the comic, but this was changed due to concerns about toy sales. This decision led to Aldrich Killian becoming the main villain of the movie. And of course, we can't forget Jon Favreau returning as Happy Hogan. And as he isn't directing this time around, his role is a bit more integral within the film.
Badge, guys.
One character I almost forgot to mention in this movie is Harley.
His role in this film was essential, as it gave Tony something to bounce off of when it came to his mental health and his own parental issues. Ty Simpkins is a great actor. He just nails it in this. His kid roles throughout say 2010 to 2015, from Insidious to Jurassic World, were golden.
Iron Man 3 directly addresses the aftermath of the Avengers, particularly how the New York battle and his trip to space, almost sacrificing himself, affected Tony psychologically. The film also sets up future developments in the MCU, including Tony's evolving relationship with his suits, and his growing concern about protecting Earth, cleverly folding into Age of Ultron. One scene that would have been really fun and would have connected to future projects was actually deleted due to RDJ being hesitant to carry on with the character of Tony Stark after this movie. The scene involved Tony Stark flying off into space to meet with the Guardians of the Galaxy, similar to some story arcs in the comics. I would have loved to see how this would have affected the Guardians movie. And of course, we get a tie into the Hulk as we see Bruce Banner in the post-credits, revealing that he is the person Tony has been narrating to for the entire film. So let's crack on with these tidbits about the film. Like I said earlier, I'd come back to the trivia about the Air Force One scene. The fact is that the film actually holds a Guinness World Record for the largest ever freefall stunt sequence, performed at 8,000 feet. That's wild. A brief scene featuring Yinsen from the first Iron Man is in a flashback at the beginning of the movie. This one's really cool. Anthony Mackie auditioned to play the Mandarin and ended up being cast as Sam Wilson / the Falcon in Captain America the Winter Soldier. A real news helicopter crashed during the filming in North Carolina. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured. Iron Man 3 deserves a solid B rating. While it takes bold risks with its character development and plot twists, some of these choices proved divisive among fans. However, its exploration of Tony Stark's character and innovative action sequences make it a significant entry in the MCU. Iron Man 3 successfully concludes the Iron Man trilogy by taking Tony Stark's character in a new direction. While some of its creative choices were controversial, the film's exploration of identity and trauma, combined with spectacular action sequences, creates an engaging superhero story. The movie proves that the MCU could take risks with established characters. It serves as both a satisfying conclusion to the Iron Man series and a stepping stone for Tony Stark's continued evolution in the MCU.